The sky over Kale Prime was an ocean of black smoke and falling ash. Once the jewel of the Andari cluster, its crystal spires lay shattered beneath a haze of drifting embers. The insectoid Kalani people, so proud and peaceful, now huddled in broken shelters, waiting for the end. They hadn't been warriors, not really. For centuries, their treaties and trade routes had bought them peace. But when the Devourers came, there was no treaty to sign, no tribute to pay. There was only fire. Chancellor Veshka stood on the roof of the last intact citadel, his antennae drooping. His once gleaming carapace was cracked and smeared with the soot of 1,000 funeral pyres. He watched the black horizon where the Devourers' swarm ships hung in orbit, blotting out the stars. Millions were already dead. Billions more would follow. Veshka's advisors whispered behind him. The last emergency conclave, their voices thin and hopeless. We have no fleets left, Chancellor. No hidden weapons. The orbital ring is gone. Veshka's eyes flickered to the battered old relay console. It still blinked with an open channel, one final, desperate connection. Then do it, Veshka said. His voice scraped like dry leaves. Send the signal. Pray they answer. A pause. His defense minister clicked his mandibles anxiously. You're certain, Chancellor? The humans. Veshka's antennae twitched. Hope is dead. Let us see if terror can keep us breathing instead. He pressed the transmit button. One phrase repeated, pulsed out into the void like a heartbeat. Kale Prime calls for Terran aid. Kale Prime calls for Terran aid. Not for themselves, but for those foolish enough to push them too far. For 2 days, Kale Prime burned. On the third day, the sky split apart. Through the roiling clouds, a single Terran dreadnought descended, its matte black hull the size of a city. It moved with the slow, terrible certainty of a glacier, and as it passed, the swarm ships above Kale Prime began to drift, split neatly in half by something too fast for the eye to see. Veshka watched from the citadel's roof as bright lines traced the sky, kinetic rods, falling at terminal velocity. Where they struck, the devourer nests vanished in pillars of searing white fire. There was no broadcast, no demands, no speech of salvation. Instead, the dreadnought lowered a dropship, a single, ugly brick of metal that slammed into the ruined plaza with a shockwave that cracked the broken streets wider. From its ramp stepped the humans. Not an army, just a handful of them, clad in black exosuits bristling with unfamiliar weapons. Their visors gleamed with crimson sigils that flickered like hunting eyes. Their leader, a tall Terran woman with weathered skin and silver hair pulled tight beneath her helmet, looked at the huddled Kalani survivors with a calm, predatory kindness. Chancellor Veshka? She asked, her voice distorted through the helmet. He stumbled forward, his legs trembling. Ah yes, I am he. She scanned the sky, where the last of the devourer swarm was circling, uncertain. Stay here, she said. Stay down. Are you enough? Veshka rasped. There are only a few of you. Her visor flicked toward him. That's all we need. What followed became the nightmare tale that devourer drones would one day whisper, if any survived. The humans spread out through the burning city like a pack of wolves set loose among sheep. They moved through rubble and ruin with perfect, brutal precision. Where a devourer broodlord lunged, it found its limbs severed by humming monoblades. Where a swarm tunnel threatened to flood the last bunkers, it instead collapsed, caved in by charges that made the very ground weep magma. Above, the dreadnought's railguns spoke in thunder, sniping the devourer's command ships from orbit. No wasted shots, no survivors. Within hours, the tide turned. Within days, the devourers were extinct on Kale Prime. Their last queens burned alive in the hives they'd carved from the planet's bones. And when it was over, the humans stood among the ashes, watching the Kalani emerge from their shelters, blinking in the gray dawn. Veshka bowed low, antennae touching the dust at the humans' boots. We are in your debt, he whispered. What do you demand? The human leader tilted her head. Nothing. He looked up, astonished. But you saved us. Millions, billions will live because of you. She gave him a tired smile. Then remember who we are. Tell them what happens when you think you've crushed all hope, and still someone calls the humans. And just like that, they boarded their ship, vanished into the stars, leaving behind only the ghosts of monsters and a story that would echo across every world foolish enough to think the humans had grown soft.